All the Money in the World is directed by Ridley Scott and it stars Michelle Williams, Christopher Plummer, Mark Wahlberg, and Charlie Plummer. And it tells what I just found out is the real story of the kidnapping of John Paul Getty III, a 16-year-old boy who's the grandson of the wealthiest man on the planet, and the desperate attempt by his devoted mother to convince the billionaire grandfather Jean Paul Getty to pay the enormous ransom. This movie very famously went through a lot of trouble lately into production when it was already finished because Kevin Spacey was originally going to play this wealthy grandfather. And I do have to commend the movie, Ridley Scott, and all the production for accomplishing what they did given these problems so late with so little time to put everything back together with the addition of Christopher Plummer, who is a great addition to this film. The man has a great screen presence and he is phenomenal throughout this film. Every scene with him justifies his nomination for the Academy Award. The man is one of the greatest actors to ever be on screen, and he proves it once again here because he just commands every moment of dialogue, every scene that he shares with any character. He just has this power to him where he doesn't even need to speak sometimes, and you feel this man's gaze on you, processing what you're saying and how he should act and how he will act throughout this film. Another incredible performance is given by Michelle Williams, who I'd say is being overlooked throughout this Oscar season because throughout the entire runtime of this film, this mother is fighting tooth and nail. She throws herself at everyone who steps in her way in trying to save her son. You just see this devoted mother throughout the film, never giving up, feeling so desperate throughout. You see the pain, the suffering, the grieving on this mother, and in addition you have many other trials and tribulations that she went through to keep her family together, never really caring about the money that she could have for herself. Mark Wahlberg is really good as well, but the film does show sometimes its flaws because of the problems it had in production. Mark Wahlberg shifts body mass levels throughout some scenes, especially when he is with Christopher Plummer. There is one scene in particular where every shot of Mark Wahlberg standing next to Christopher Plummer is a close-up, and you can see right on his cheeks that he is very thin comparing to other scenes that are in Italy where he is with Michelle Williams, and you just see his arm exploding out of the sleeve of his shirt, for instance. There are also some cuts throughout the film that feel very rushed and choppy, and that I cannot blame on the production issues this film had, but they do feel very choppy, and I would guess that they still would be very choppy if this film had gone on flawlessly throughout production. And those unfortunately aren't the only issues this movie has. It felt very tough to feel any attachment to any of these characters, despite the phenomenal performances. Christopher Plummer, for instance, just isn't a character you're going to get attached to. Michelle Williams, you do feel her pain because she is a mother in suffering, fighting to save her son, because at any moment he could be killed if she does not pay the ransom. But that's really it. That's natural human empathy and not necessarily towards this character specifically. Also, the boy who is kidnapped, played very well by Charlie Plummer. You do not get a whole lot of sympathy for him because there's just never a reason to really care about him. He's the son of Michelle Williams. You want him to be saved because of Michelle Williams, and that's really it. I also have a huge issue with the cinematography in this film. It's not that it looks bad. It's not like you cannot see a thing. The shots are well composed and all. It's the color more specifically. The problem with the color of this film is that you can tell there is a filter on the lens of the camera. And I don't have a problem with unnatural coloring of your film. I have a problem in this case because you can tell that in mostly every scene, literally about 95% of the film, you can tell that is not the natural lighting of the scene which you're watching, and it felt really off. It really took me out of the movie. There's about one scene where it felt like I was watching the movie naturally lit. Putting a filter over your lens, it's how you make a movie. Simple as that. Ridley Scott works really well in his direction despite all the stumbles this production has. The performances are great throughout. The story is really what tears this movie down. There are problems with editing. There is a problem with the runtime because this movie is unnecessarily too long. Probably 30 minutes too long. This is not a movie I regret watching, and I won't say it's Ridley Scott's worst, far from that. I will not seek to rewatch All the Money in the World, but I feel like it could have benefited from being made like it was a thriller, and I did not feel thrilled whatsoever throughout this film. Again, I do not regret watching it, but I will not seek to rewatch this movie ever again. And whether you watch it or not, your heart will definitely go on. What did you think of All the Money in the World, my beautiful geekies? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Let me know in the comments below what is your favorite and least favorite Ridley Scott film. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are the best. I have reviews for 50 Shades Freed and Black Panther this week, and also Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool. I can't wait to see there. Thank you once more so much. And so until those reviews, you stay beautiful, you stay geeky, and if you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button and the bell so we can be geeky united.